Mr. Bob Kulick. Woohoo! Woo!
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so great to see you all here today and so many people from the cruise. What a blast this is today. Mark, thank you so much.
Well, I tell you what, you want to sit down and we'll talk.
We'll sit and we'll chat.
Yes.
Let's talk Kiss.
Let's talk Kiss, our favorite subject. Now, how many people, show of hands, make noise, grunt, kick the floor, were on Kiss Cruise 7? Woo! Now, I don't have to tell you, about an hour into the cruise, or hour or two into the cruise, what was the talk of the cruise?
The Kulick!
The Hewlett Brothers just majorly destroying the stage. And honestly, one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. So Bob has shared some things on our podcast and privately with me, but here's one thing that Bob can go into that I thought was fascinating. I asked Bob, I'm like, how much did you guys rehearse for that? Because you freaking nailed it. That show was so awesome. I'm like, I'm expecting to go, for the last month, we were practicing every day. Go ahead, Bob, tell him the truth. Tell him what you told me to my face. How much practice did the Hewlett Brothers do for that incredible show?
Well, I have to preface this by saying that since my brother and I both were the lead guitar players on the songs that we played. Is this better? All right, I'll start over. Since my brother and I were the guitar players that played on the original recordings of these songs are obviously personal to us and something that we know and love. But normally, under normal conditions, a band of people, especially under these conditions where Brent and Todd, our bass player and singer and drummer, are just people that we've worked with in the past from time to time and really hadn't done any playing with them whatsoever. I live in Vegas now. I jammed with them a couple of times. Bruce flew in to Las Vegas and rehearsed for a day and a half, 1 month before the cruise. Bruce and I got together in Los Angeles and went through the songs for a few hours so I could show him a couple of little nuances and he could bust my chops about a few of his. So that was the extent of it. We got up into the 10-minute sound check that we did, and then it was cast your fate to the wind, in this case, on a cruise, on a boat. The magic was so obvious that we were so inspired that this is what we got out of it. And I had no idea that it was as great as it was for what you guys were seeing because I was concentrating on my part. But to be able to see this on YouTube and the videos, wow. It's really shown me, like I was saying to Mark, that each of us has that opportunity in life where there's an opportunity to be great for whatever it is. Great on a school test, great in your job, great in your relationship, great as a baseball player hitting a home run and winning a Little League game or something like that. This was this band's opportunity to get up there and hit a home run. And I can't tell you how much it means to us that everybody has responded in the way that you've responded. It shows me that if you are great and that you really put the effort out, something special can happen. Just like the other day, the announcement for the next cruise. So we're going to be back, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah!
Let me tell you, when Bob and Bruce were going to come up when I was on the cruise, I was with my wife, and I've been on all 7 cruises, and I've seen Bob and Bruce play at a lot of conventions over the years. And I said to my wife, I said, Bob and Bruce are going to play some stuff, and then we'll go eat. Needless to say, my wife went to eat by herself because I could not leave watching these guys. It was so cool. One of the things that I want to know is last year's set was so incredible. Are you going to do a completely different set for 2018?
Good question, Mark.
Good question. We haven't discussed it yet. However, we're going to be doing 2 shows this time. So I have a feeling we're going to do some more deep cuts that we haven't done before. There's a few in mind that everybody will obviously figure out. And hopefully we'll have 2 different sets other than wanting to make sure that everybody is going to get to hear what they want to hear. That's the main thing about this, is that this is for you guys. We love these songs, having played on the records and stuff like that makes it personal and special. but to be able to play them and see people singing along and crying and jumping up and down and flipping out, you know, hopefully we'll be able to do that again.
And it really, I tell you what, just as a mega Kiss fan, seeing those songs come alive. Now, how did you go about picking which songs? I mean, because you obviously did the stuff from Paul's solo record, and you know, and then through the 80s Kiss catalog. So, what was the mindset? I mean, did you pick it exclusively, or did you both kind of go back and forth with who gets to play what? And
well, you know my brother. There is no pick it exclusively with Bruce. We together, you know, we arm wrestled to see which songs, and you know, finally we came up with a big list of what we could do. And then once we picked the songs, ran it by Todd and Brent, and wanted to make sure that Kiss wasn't going to do these songs either. So we did double check to make sure that, even though I know they did acoustic Hide Your Heart, I felt that the electric was different enough that we could get away with it, which we did. But Bruce and I discussed this, and then we kind of just, a few days before we were done with the last rehearsal, we wrote up a set list. Bruce made a couple of changes. We had a couple of arguments about a couple of the songs, but it worked out perfectly. Everybody got what they wanted, and I felt like, you know what? This is a huge chunk of the deep cuts catalog, and I thought everybody was happy. Judging by the response, I guess you were.
Yeah! Another question. I know Paul watched your set. Did you hear anything from Paul after the set was over? Did he say anything?
Well, actually, I didn't see Paul until the next day when I wound up doing his, you know, jamming with him at his personal event that he had. So, and of course, we didn't have a chance to talk about that. We'd already moved on, and we're talking about, you know, me playing, you know, with him on, you know, the one song that I did on the cruise. So, didn't really ever have a conversation about any of it with any of them, other than maybe Eric. You know, other than that, you know, I didn't really specifically say, you know, so what'd you think of our set there? You know, I really didn't have that conversation. But because we're back, I know that they loved what we did.
Yeah.
And that they appreciated that we dotted the I's and crossed the T's to make it as great as it could be. You know, and hopefully we'll do that again. Is this just me, or is the lights just go out?
When you were,
I just had a birthday, you know, I gotta be concerned about this.
When you were putting the set together, did you and your brother discuss who would play which leads? Was there any guitar parts that you guys, that maybe you wanted to play and then kind of let Bruce play, or vice versa? How'd you guys work that out? Because there was a lot of great, if you were there, you saw some incredible guitar playing. Let me tell you, just incredible guitar playing. So did you guys, you know, kind of have any give and take, like I'll let you do this one and you can do that one?
We did, and we specifically eyeballed the Here Comes the Night, you know, which we did with Crazy Nights. So that was the end of the set proper, was the medley of those two together. And at the end of that, we, you know, it was like swap solos and each of us playing. And to me, that was one of the great moments of it, that people got to see us stand there toe-to-toe playing, you know, swapping leads and all of that. And other than that, though, the songs that Bruce was the lead guitar player on, he played the leads on. And the songs like on Paul's record, or Larger Than Life, or American Man, that stuff, Nowhere to Run, I did the solos on that. So it was compartmentalized to a certain extent, and then there was the let's just play part. And I think this time we'll probably have more of the let's just vamp on this, let's just do that. You know, again, we try to keep it as concise as possible, just to make sure we got all those songs out, because that's what you guys wanted to hear, and that's more important than just the solos.
I'm hoping for...
Thank you.
Any chance of getting all 4 Killers tunes into 2 sets on the... Because I think that's stuff that the fans... You guys want to hear those songs, don't you?
Yeah!
I know I do. And you know, just getting a taste of Nowhere to Run, you're like, all right, I want the other 3, and I want them now. So, is there... Can you say... Can we get all 4 songs in between 2 sets?
Maybe I should call my brother on the phone now and see if I just put the phone up. So Bruce, I'm here with and see what he says. I can't promise anything, but I have a good feeling. You know, we'll all be partners in crime, and you know, we might move on. And you know, there's a bunch of songs that I think we could wind up doing, especially with 2 sets.
right, let's go back in time to the Killers era. You get a call. A certain guitar player, as you know, was on the cover, and
I won't say anything bad, I promise.
I know. But
Bruce, I'm sorry.
but let's go back to that time, because that had to have been kind of awkward for you. Here is Kiss coming off, you know, The Elder, and wanting to kind of change directions a little bit, and they're like, "Hey, we need you." What was going through your mind? What was that time like? Because, you know, in all the interviews and stuff, that's a little bit of a gray area in the Kiss world. So Kiss calls you, they're just trying to heavy things up. They call you, and what was your response? Did you ask, like, do you want me to play a certain way? Because we know that in the past it was, you know, kind of stay within these perimeters. Was this just, hey, you know what, Bob? We need Bob to be Bob, and we need Bob now. Did you get any sort of that
Good question. Interestingly enough, and I'm not sure everybody knows this, Kiss Killers and Creatures of the Night were both being done essentially at the same time. And as was the process of looking for a guitar player to replace Ace, because that was what was happening at the time. So when I went out to Los Angeles, we started with some of the Kiss Killers stuff. And regarding the stylistic changes that were made on that, they asked me to bring my Floyd Rose guitar, which was a guitar that has this special whammy bar on it that Eddie Van Halen made popular, where I was able to do all of the doohickeys on Partners in Crime, all of that crazy stuff was with that guitar. So that was one of the things that they were loosening up as far as what they wanted to play. I think they realized that with the advent of Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen and some of the new generation of guitar players for that period of time that were coming out, that they wanted to up the game a little bit, of which they did. Vinnie Vincent upped the game for them dramatically. My brother upped the game for them dramatically. Mark St. John, for the short period of time he was there, was a shred guitar player that could play a lot of stuff. So my job at the time was to kind of bridge the gap between the older stuff and play on some of the newer stuff. So for me, Nowhere to Run obviously was the highlight of that period of time, because I thought, it was a really great song that I thought Paul really sang great. We rehearsed it to do on the '89 tour, and it was such a hard song to sing. We never did it. We never did it one time, even though we rehearsed it. But when we did that song on the cruise, it was one of the best responses that we got. So I think that was more of the larger-than-life guitar player, whereas Partners in Crime started to be the newer stuff. And actually, it was that week that we started those recordings that I actually met Vinny for the first time under that guise of that he'd come down to meet Gene and Paul and all of that. And it's so funny because here we are today.
Speaking of that time, because they were looking for a new guitar player, did your second one, was it ever even suggested or asked for you to come back? Or not come back, or to join, or to fit that in? Because obviously, and we're going to go back into the audition day back in '73 and stuff. I'm kind of moving backwards a little bit. But was there a time in the early '80s where your name came up as a serious replacement? And if it did, why didn't you do it?
I think the reality is that it was mentioned many times, but by that time it was mentioned as a joke. So some of the business people at the office would say, so if you did join the band, what would your character be? And I was like, I finally had to come up with something. I was like, you know what? You guys have seen Flash Gordon, the movie? Ming the Merciless. And I thought, oh, I could be Ming the Merciless, somebody with an outfit and a shaved head. But they also realized that because I had been playing with other people, played with Alice Cooper, played with other artists, that it was going to be hard for me all of a sudden to maybe change my name, change my look, try to be somebody else, fit into a mold that was established by somebody else. As much as I would have liked to have done it, they realized, as did I, that really the gig was not ever for me. the gig was always for my brother. And when I finally realized that, I was able